Hello everybody, I'm Storm here, and welcome to part 3 of the Stellaris tutorial series that we're working on. Last time we actually got the game started, went over some of the first things that you're going to want to be doing as a brand new empire. We went over the initial exploration, the different methods of travel. We also demonstrated how to build space stations, do system surveys. We ran some special projects. We had some events fire, all kinds of good things that you're going to be dealing with at the beginning of the game. So, what are we going to be doing here? We're going to be continuing with that as we move forward, because there's a few more things that we actually haven't really touched on yet. And actually, one thing that we can talk about right now that I don't think I actually went over was back here on our home planet. Is you may have noticed that there's these tiles here that have the yellow and black stripes on them. What those are is what are called tile blockers, right? So these tiles are blocked. You can't put any pops. You can't like put pops there. So you can't build anything there. But you can see there's resources there that we can't access. So what we would need to do is clear the tile blocker. So if we just say, actually let's grab this one. Some power there. Power is going to be a very important early game resource. We're going to go ahead and clear that, and then that will run. It'll take 90 days to clear. Actually, let's take 62, because I think we have some modifiers for construction. So there we go. So we unpause it, get this thing moving again. One thing we also have, our first research is about to get done here, the solar panel networks. Bump up the fast speed.
Research complete.
Alright, so solar panel networks. Advances in solar panel technology could potentially reduce operating costs of our spaceports. The panels will require an entire spaceport module to generate enough energy, however. So let's pick a new research. And we have options here for global energy management, which gives us the capacity overload edict and the energy grid structure, which would be very nice. We can unlock Physics Lab 1, which is another building we can build, or we can increase our sensor range for our ships. I think what actually I'm going to do is take the global energy management, because as I said before, energy is an extremely important resource to make sure you keep on top of early in the game. Actually throughout the game, but early in the game is particularly an issue. So, speaking of energy, so let's go here. We just got some new technology, which is for solar panels for our spaceports. So we'll select our spaceport, and we see that there's this block right here, which is one of the spaceport modules. You can click on that, and you can choose to build something. So we'll go ahead, we'll build the solar panel networks. Take 150 days to build. It costs us 75 minerals. Here we go. Here's another thing that in this version of the game. We have a faction founded. A new faction has recently been gaining traction in the internal political landscape of the Commonwealth of Man. Led by scientist Rin Miura, they call themselves the Martial Supremacy Alliance. Their members have been pushing hard for us to assert our military dominance over the rest of the galaxy. A disgruntled faction will be a source of trouble, but one that approves of the government's actions could prove useful. Alright, so here we have in the outliner our faction. So we click on that. That'll bring us over here. And then what issues that they have? Border expansion. Constructing a frontier outpost to expand our territory will please...
Tile blocker clear.
Will please these guys. Let me just pause that. Strong alone. Allowing the Commonwealth of Man to be exploited by alien interests by joining a federation will displease the Martial Supremacy Alliance. So they will not like us joining federations, and they do like us expanding our border. So we'll have to think about that. Alright, and we just got an alert here that we had a tile blocker get cleared. So I click on our planet, go to surface. Yep, now I have our tile blocker over here is clear, so now we can access that tile and those resources on that tile. Alright. So, let's see. Construction ship. We really don't have the minerals to do anything with the construction yet. And we are still working on the system survey. Speaking of. System survey. The CNS Wanderer has managed to isolate a residual ion trail in the Zarem system that is identical to the ones that was produced by the Chrysanthemum's engines. It must have originated from the Hyacinth. Although the faint ion trail is over a century old, Science Officer Florencia Ruiz has managed to track it on an outbound trajectory towards a previously uncharted star. We have entered its coordinates into the situation log. Okay, so we have the hunt for the Hyacinth, investigate system. Let's track it on map, so it's over there. So let's send our science ship over here to survey that system. As we can see here, that now on this system, we have some power, we have some minerals. But it's outside of our border, so we can't actually build anything there yet. Alright, now one other thing that we really haven't gone over yet. Oh, Hyacinth found. You have located the Hyacinth. The Great Ark ship is parked in a stable orbit over Milistramu 2. No power signatures have been detected from within its hull. We are not picking up any distress beacons. An armed boarding party should be sent to investigate the ship's interior. Gear up.
Situation log updated.
Okay, so this special project, you can actually click on it. We need to board the Hyacinth. We need a science ship in orbit. So if we go here, what we're actually going to do, I'm just going to tell them to do the research project, and then I'm going to hold in shift, right click here, and say survey system. So we're going to hit the research project first of the Hyacinth, and then it'll get to work. We'll queue in these surveys. So let's see what happens here.
Construction complete.
The spaceport in Unity has finished its construction. As we can see, we increased our energy credits. Now what I was about to do, we'll do in a minute. Let's just see how this goes. It's advancing pretty quickly. So 83%, 90%.
Special project.
There we go. Hyacinth boarded. Our boarding party has returned from the Hyacinth with a gruesome report. Human remains and amounts consistent with the Ark ship's entire complement of 250,000 colonists were found on board. Most seem to have died from starvation. There are also signs of small arms fire and cannibalism. We were able to recover the captain's log from the archives on the Hyacinth's bridge. Bring it up. Ark ship Hyacinth. Accessing data. Let's see, log 1. We are 15 months out of Earth and proceeding on course. Things have gone smoothly so far. The colonists are fast asleep. Dr. Kolbeck has reported strong vitals across the board. Our journey has taken us outside the influence of the sun's gravity well. We'll soon reach the point where it has been deemed safe to activate the Hyacinth subspace wormhole generator. I have made my reservations about this device known in previous log entries, but we'll know if it works soon enough. We actually made it. Astrologation is still working on getting a fix on our position, but judging by the stars outside, I think it's a safe bet to say we're not in Kansas anymore. Unfortunately, the Hyacinth suffered a major engineering casualty that resulted in a complete loss of power, and we're currently running on batteries. Kolbeck has informed me that we may need to wake up the colonists on our way down engineering to see why Maggie is taking her sweet time getting the reactor up and running again. Hopefully we can get underway soon and begin our search for the Chrysanthemum's colonists. Let's see. Log 3. The situation has gone from bad to worse. There There's no longer any realistic hope of restarting the reactor, and the last of the Hyacinth's power reserves were spent in our attempt to reach this misbegotten system. We had hoped to find some place habitable to set her down, but no such luck. We've got enough juice in the batteries to keep life support going for a few years, but with 250,000 colonists up and about, the Hyacinth's food supplies won't last a month. I called a meeting with all department heads. We need to come up with some sort of plan. This will likely be my final log. My bridge crew is either dead or missing, and a group of colonists are trying to force their way into the bridge as I speak. Our main food supplies ran out weeks ago, and there are reports of cannibalism. I kept a small stash of food for the crew to keep the old girl running a little while longer, hoping for some kind of miracle, I guess. When the surviving colonists found out, they're through the doors. Back, damn you! Keep your distance. I'm the captain of this ship, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna let you butcher me like a... Okay, yeah. We now have a pretty clear picture of the grim fate that befell the Hyacinth. Her crew and the colonists she was carrying, had circumstances been different, it could have very well been the chrysanthemums drifting... I think it was chrysanthemum drifting above. You like a science tomb. A sobering reminder of the dangers humanity faced with a cold and uncaring universe. The Hyacinth will now be towed into orbit of Unity and converted into a museum as soon as the human remains have been cleared out. Despite this tragic history, the Ark ship is almost identical to the one that brought our ancestors here from Earth, and our sociologists could learn much from it. Okay, there we go.
Research complete.
Our first big event chain. Alright, we finished our research for Planetary Unification. We get a monthly influence +1. Propaganda broadcasts, edict. So we can pick a new research, which we have an option to increase our border range, which would be very nice. Genome mapping, which increases our growth speed. Or adaptive bureaucracy, which increases our capacity of leaders. The size of pools for leaders, and the influence from factions. I think I'm going to take the border range. Let's grab that. Alright, now... what we could do is say, let's go ahead over here and let's build a... That's a construction ship. This is... oh, that's just an actual station. Hey, okay. Build a mining station there. Alright, now what I was going to demonstrate here was the ship designer, which we really haven't gone over. We don't really have any new ships. We currently have a Corvette design. We could create a new Corvette design, and this is what you would start off with a new design. So you have to pick a ship section, which all we have right now is Interceptor. And if you click on these, then you can assign weapons to them. And then down here, we have different things. This is where we can put in armor and shields once we get those. But right now, all we have are reactors. So put in a reactor. And here's our, production costs. How much it's going to cost to build it, how long it's going to take to build it, what it's going to take to maintain it, how much power it has available, hull points, armor, shields, all those things. Which we don't really need this right now, because we already have one of these.
System survey complete.
Alright, technology research. Mineral storage capacity plus 1,000. Okay, ion thruster, which is a component. Or we could grab nuclear missiles. Let's grab nuclear missiles. Alright, so we finished surveying here. So let's keep surveying. This is an indication that there's a potentially habitable world here, so let's go ahead and survey that system. And here is my military fleet. Let's actually fly you over there.
Construction complete.
And now, what we can do also is, if we go to our main planet, go to Spaceport, we have enough that we can build another Corvette. Let's go ahead and do that. And it's going to build out. launch it here. Got 20 days.
Construction complete.
Okay, so we just built this, and now it's moving because we have this fleet is set as a rally point. So all new ships, as they build, will then fly to that fleet and merge in automatically. If you don't want that to happen, then you just turn that rally point off. And here we have a tradition available. So we took expansion, so we can pick one of these. Capital buildings now produce one additional unity. Reach for the stars. The purpose of colonizing and building frontier outpost systems count as being half the regular distance away. I think we'll go with this one, Colonization Fever. Which one thing we haven't done yet is actually built a colony ship. They are rather expensive. If we go here, colony ship down here costs 311 minerals to build. Alright, so now we have 4 ships in our fleet. 126 lets us know how much military power this fleet has. I think for now we'll bring the fleet back home. So we just right click on our planet and the fleet will come back and enter orbit of our homeworld. So I'm actually going to speed time up here a little bit.
System survey complete.
System survey is complete, so let's continue working on surveys. Actually, let's change our plans here. I'm going to tell you to survey over there instead. Because this is another potentially habitable planet over here. I'd like to see what it is. So we're trying to get up to about 311 minerals. Here we go. A leader has gained a level. So one of our scientists is leveled up. Alright, so that's good.
Unidentified object detected.
Oh, what's this? Hold on.
Evading hostile fleet.
Encountered alien vessels in the Neb system. We encountered some form of alien vessel. They are flagged as the Charlie Bogies. Also, they appear to be some sort of spaceborne organism. So let's go ahead and research what those are. Habitable world surveys. Okay, so we completed this. We know without a doubt. Oh, actually, we didn't complete this. This is just starting. Okay. We now know without a doubt that a thriving biosphere is not something unique to Unity. Both the scientific community and the public at large are eager to learn more about the various forms of alien life found throughout the galaxy. Efforts to catalog the life forms we encounter are already underway, but our xenobiologists have urged us to focus on our planetary survey efforts on habitable life-bearing worlds. Okay,
Situation log
we'll take that.
updated.
See, now our construction ship that was set to evasive fled when those hostile aliens showed up. An anomaly. An abandoned ship has been left to drift aimlessly above this planet. The massive sails protruding from its hull suggested it is relied on solar power to function. It's a 0% failure risk. We'll go ahead and research it. Alright, so we now have enough minerals. Space Amoebas. Okay, so this is the special project we just completed. The entities encountered by our fleet some time ago are spaceborne forms of life. Quickly named Space Amoebas following a tactician's gross misreading of initial sensor output, the creature is in fact larger than the average human corvette. The creature displays aggressive behavior towards human ships, but further study is warranted For example, we could exercise our martial prowess by swiftly executing this specimen and studying its remains. So, we can issue a special project to study them, or we can say we expect our fleets to make short work with a creature. Because we are xenophobic, I'm going to say we expect our fleets to make short work.
Updated.
And our anomaly research is done. We have discovered an abandoned solar sail ship in orbit around Marist 5. The sublight vessel was built by an unknown culture and appears to be several thousand years old. One of the massive sails is a large tear where some kind of object passed through, most likely a meteoroid, which appears to have disabled the vessel. Although the technology of the ship is severely outdated, it does possess some interesting engineering design choices, so we get some engineering research out of it. Alright, so now, we can build a new colony ship, and we want to pick one of these systems to be our first colony. Which I think I'm going to pick this one, because it is a continental world. We can hover over this. This is tropical world, 70% habitability, 70%. This one is 90%. So we're going to pick this one. We can just click right on it. Go to the planet summary, and then just click the colonize button. And then we have the number of places we can build colony ships from. So we can open that up. Click the colonize button, and then we can pick where we want to drop our colony ship, which, or at least the initial colony. So I'm going to pick an empty spot. So I'm going to go ahead and click right there. And we can give it a name, which we're just going to keep the default name for now. And now our colony ship, if we go to the spaceport of our home planet, is building. And I think one other thing we're going to build is we're also going to queue in another Corvette. We'll start building up our military forces. Science ship. Head over here to survey. That's another potentially habitable world in that system there. Another faction has been founded. A new faction is recently been gaining traction. Led by Governor Stephanie Hooks, they call themselves the Human Purity Movement. The members seek to assess the primacy of the human species, or assert the primacy of the human species, by curtailing the rights of aliens if necessary.
Research complete.
Let's see. We got ourselves a new tradition here. Let's see, computer network. A new life. Pop growth speed increased by 10% on calling development speed. Increased by 50%. Let's go ahead and take that. And we have some new tech. We got our global energy management. So let's take this, and we have a new power generator technology. Let's take that. It'll give us fusion reactors. Alright, so now a colony ship has been constructed. You can see it here. Now the colony ship costs a lot of power to maintain. 7.6 power to maintain, which is why we are now losing energy credits at a rate of 2 per month.
Construction complete.
I see it's up to 3 per month now, because we just finished construction of a new Corvette.
Colonization in progress.
Alright, colonization has begun. The first human colony. A colony ship has gently touched down at the mouth of a large river delta on one of several continents that can be found on Escaron Prime. This temperate, forested region will serve as an ideal first landing site. The ship has been permanently converted into the administrative headquarters of the new settlement, and its reactor core is in the process of being removed so that it may serve as the colony's temporary power source. Hundreds of small tents and prefab shelters have sprung up around the former starship's massive hull as colonists begin to disembark in large numbers. The first human city on an alien world. Alright. So now we have, it's colonizing planet. It's going to take 17 months, and it costs 8 power per month to do.
System survey complete. Anomaly found.
Alright, another anomaly was found. Our science officer has found an anomaly. It requires extensive probing. It's got a 10% failure risk. Go ahead and hit it. Teachings of Explorers. The CNS Wanderer's crew is reporting that they have found something spectacular on Uldor 5. On the surface lies traces of an explorative expedition of another civilization. Left behind are some well-preserved documents and artifacts. The proposed action by Chief Science Officer Florencia Ruiz is to send the text findings to our homeworld for translation. There's also the possibility to sell them off to a private investor. I'm going to send it to
Situation
the
log
homeworld for
updated.
research. So it's going to finish in 41 months. It costs 500 society research. Let's just finish this research first, and then we'll do it, because it'll occupy our society researcher.
Research complete.
Finished research here on nuclear missiles. We have a few options. Engineering facility, improved spaceport. This is going to be important. Beltharian power plant. That's also going to be important. I'm going to take the improved spaceport. And then next month,
Research complete.
that research finishes. And now we have one of these. This is for selective defoliants to remove the dense jungle tile blocker. So if we look at our new colony forming, we look at its surface, we have different types of tile blockers here, and one of them is dense jungle. So once you've colonized a planet that has new tile blockers on it you haven't encountered before, then it should show up in your research. So let's go ahead and pick that. Alright, so we got nuclear missiles. So one thing we can do is go to our ship designer and say, let's create a new Corvette design that uses missiles instead. And we can take a look. These are small slots. So this is small, medium, and large. They can fit in those types of slots. And so we have our small red laser. It uses 2.5 power. Costs 2.5 minerals. And we can see its damage stat. So it does 5 to 10 damage per shot. It has a 3.75 cooldown. So it does on average 1.8 damage per time period. I think that might be seconds. Not sure. Accuracy 90%, tracking 90%, range of 30 units. Now, the small nuclear missile does a lot more damage, has a lot more range, and is a lot more accurate. But there's different effects here. So the lasers ignore 15% of armor, but they do less damage to shields. The missiles do additional damage to shields. So these are going to do a lot more damage to unshielded targets. These are going to help knock down shields. So it's good to kind of combine your weapon types. Now, if I hit autocomplete ship, then the computer determines what needs to be filled in down here to make what we've selected up here and over here work. So we have wormholes, we have our combat computer, we have our thrusters, and our sensors. But we don't have anything new there yet. So let's go ahead. We need to give the design a name, which was the serpent. We're going to call this the lizard. So let's go ahead and save. And then we can go ahead and build a couple of the lizard class corvettes. Our science ship is done surveying. So we can go ahead and tell them to survey another system. And you can see our border is expanding because we got that new technology.
Construction complete.
We're still losing. Oh. Guesibor civilization encountered. This is interesting. You have detected the presence of a pre-space alien civilization on Finderband's outpost in the Hishima system. Atmospheric contaminants and light pollution visible from orbit are consistent with a densely populated machine-age society. They appear to have mastered air travel, and factories are mass-producing goods in their cities. We should consider building an observation post above their world to study them more closely. Interesting. So we have our... Is this the first one of these we've encountered? These are pre-space flight civilization. They're machine age, which have been like the 1920s and 30s Earth kind of time frame. So they don't have nuclear energy yet, but they do have like airplanes and powered vehicles and that kind of stuff. All right, our colony is established here. So you see, we have our, our capital with our reassembled ship shelter. We have a couple of pops, one full pop, one growing pop. So we need to do some things like let's build a hydroponic farm. Let's actually move you over here and have you build a mine. So there we go.
Survey complete.
So now one thing we want to look at over here is this. Directly controlled colonized systems. We can effectively control 3 colonized systems. So now we have 2. That's one thing we need to think about. So we can colonize one more system, and then if we colonize any more, we're going to start suffering penalties. Alright, so you, actually, let's continue surveying. Actually, let's take a construction ship. And let's go over here. Let's build a frontier outpost. Oh, not a frontier outpost, an observation post.
Anomaly found.
I found another anomaly. Colossal impact crater. Hints at something big colliding with the surface of this planet once. Go ahead and research it. And then what we're going to do is actually, let's go over here and let's say, I want to colonize this planet. We're going to create another colony ship, drop it there. So I want to demonstrate what happens when you hit more than 3 directly controlled colony systems. That's a big thing to consider. But we are actually getting along here. Warp impact. This is the anomaly. A massive crater on Morgard 4 appears to be the result of a collision with a starship. From the size of the crater, we suspect that a ship traveling at a full warp rammed the planet for reasons unknown roughly 10,000 years ago. The CNS Wanderer has picked up residual subspace echoes near the crash site, reminiscent of a collapsed warp field, but as the ship itself disintegrated on impact, the theory cannot be verified. Remarkable. So we got some physics research. Which, if we... See, we now have 60 physics research stored, which can then get pushed into our research project. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to end the episode here. I think when we come back to the next part, we're going to continue working on this particular game, because as I want to demonstrate a few more things. Oh, there's the space amoebas. As long as they don't go mess with my station, we'll be okay. 877 fleet power. We'll have to think about what we can do about those. Yeah, a few more concepts to demonstrate as we proceed, and then we'll see what else we can go over. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.